Hey babes, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl aw-peh, and I'm in Tokyo. As you all know, I recently went home for the holidays and questions like these kept coming up. What's it like to start over in Japan? How do you get the courage to start over at all? I want to start over, but I have no idea where to start. Do you have any advice? I want to address the question, how do you get the courage to start over at all? Because for me, the answer was very simple. Y'all are not gonna like this answer, but in the spirit of transparency, I'm gonna tell you what did it for me. Literally, one day I woke up and I came to terms with my own mortality. I realized that no matter what decisions I made, no matter what path I took, no matter if I did the right thing or the wrong thing, one day I was going to die.
Go on your own journey before you criticize me. Hell, all of you, walk in my shoes.
I realized that when I was living in those last moments and my life was flashing before my eyes, I didn't want to see a montage of all the times I had people pleased. I didn't want to see a montage of all the missed opportunities I didn't take. I didn't want to see a montage of all the trips I should have went on, okay? For better or worse, I wanted to see the fruits of my labor. I wanted to see how my consequences played out, how my decision making, where my mistakes led me, not the consequences, mistakes, or decisions of someone else. And I think especially in the immigrant community, there's like this underlying theme that your life belongs to your parents or to your community. I kind of just was like, if my life belongs to someone else, whose life is mine? What life do I get to claim? I just wanted to push back against that. So that's what it was for me. I also just feel like it's the beginning of the year. People are getting into like their New Year's resolutions. You know, now is a time of like change and renewal and refreshment. I feel like I've been getting a lot of comments from you guys, a lot of messages from you guys about how to move to Japan, particularly on some of my older videos about moving to Japan. But I think a lot of people have really just been asking me like, how do you get the confidence to start over? How do you get the courage to start over? And that's really what I want to talk to you guys about today, especially with what's happening in America right now. I feel like there's definitely an uptick in people trying to jump ship, which I say go for it. Today's video is going to be 4 simple tools that you can add to your arsenal as somebody who has recently started their life over in Japan. Tools that have helped me make starting over seem less daunting, that I believe will also help you make starting over seem less daunting. All I ask is that if this video resonates with you in any way, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Your support helps me grow my channel. Let's get into it. First tool that you're going to need is knowledge. You need to arm yourself to the teeth with knowledge. If your idea of starting over looks like moving to a different city, a different state, a different country, you need to be researching everything you can about said new city, new state, new country. If you're watching this video, you probably are trying to get to a different country, which means you need to be looking at visa laws, immigration laws, what job prospects are like for foreigners, particularly foreigners from your country. As somebody with both dual citizenship in America and Nigeria, it's no secret my American passport gets me a lot further in other countries than my Nigerian passport. But you know, if I had decided that I wanted to move to Cuba instead, my Nigerian passport would have gotten me a lot further in that specific situation. So do your research, learn how far your passport is going to get you in different countries, look at the cities, look at the states. One of the scariest parts of starting over is the what ifs. All of the things you don't know. All of the things that you don't know that you don't know. That's the scariest part. The unknown unknowns.
Well, what I'm saying is that there are known knowns and that there are known unknowns, but there's also unknown unknowns. Things we don't know that we don't know.
What? Moving to Japan, there was so much I didn't know that I needed to know. If you watch either of my Japan culture shocks video, you hear me talk about this a lot. Like, there were so many things that nothing in my mind even thought to ask, but I had enough knowledge that everything balanced out. Do your research, study the laws. That way, when you start to get anxious, you can calm yourself with facts. For example, if you watched my moving to Japan vlog, you saw that I had a little bit of issue with my COE, which is what you need in order to get a visa. But the reality of it was, I knew the main reasons why a COE could get denied, and I knew that I didn't qualify for any of them. And so even though things were kind of up in the air, I knew and I trusted that things were going to work out because I was able to comfort myself with the facts. I wasn't a felon. I ain't been arrested. Public like drunkenness was like a thing. I knew I ain't had none of the stuff that was on there, and I could comfort myself with the facts, and my COE came through and I'm in Japan. The next tool, and this is gonna sound obvious, but I feel like nobody ever talks about this, you gotta have some money. There's just no way around this. You need to have a financial cushion. We live in a capitalist society, and as such, money or the lack thereof could be a huge hurdle to starting over, or to even just have the courage to dream of starting over. And if you're looking to start over in a new country, I'd say depending on where you're going, you need to have at least 5,000 to 10,000 liquid. And I know that that's a very daunting number, especially if you're American watching this, because most Americans don't have $3,000 saved. But here is the good news. You don't need to have it saved. You don't need to have it saved. You just need to get it. So here are 2 ways you'll get a good amount of money that are, for all intents and purposes, legal. Not telling you to knock over a bank or anything. So the first way is sell everything. When you are thinking about starting over, why are you bringing the things of your past behind you? The things that you can't live without, of course, take them along. Mementos, clothes, the necessities, of course, take those things along. But get on Craigslist and start selling all of the little things in your house, even the knickknacks that you don't care if you part with. Any little bit counts, and you can get a lot of money really quickly just by doing that. When I was selling off my things, I think I made somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000 just from selling off my things. And I didn't even sell the big ticket items, honestly, which is kind of crazy. Everything else that I sold, I made a ton of money, separate from money that I had already saved. But it's a great way to get a lot of money fast, and you don't need the things that you're selling because you're about to start over in a new country. Now, the second way is technically legal. So the second way is technically legal, to my knowledge. I'm going to share this second way in a series of hypotheticals, because hypothetically, it's technically legal, but I don't want to be responsible for anybody's bad financial decision making. So hypothetically, if you were like so desperate and you were prepared to take on a bit of debt in your home country, credit card or like a small loan, you could do that. You could do that. Now, if you get to your new country and you are not making enough money to pay that off in a timely fashion, obviously your credit will go in the crapper. You will default on those loans, which come with all of those repercussions. But American credit bureaus do not report outside of America, and other countries don't look into American credit reports. Don't get me wrong, I have great credit. It's in the high 800s. But however, if I had like a 200 credit score, that would not stop me from doing anything in Japan or Colombia or Mexico or London or Germany or Albania. So if you're super desperate, and I'm only saying this because I think America's gonna get there. I think Americans are gonna get to a point where they're super desperate. And I would be remiss if I did not remind you of your options. Again, if you go back to America after doing that, you'll have to deal with that. Hypothetically, you could hypothetically do that, okay? I also want to say the Bible says it's a foolish man who doesn't pay back his debts. But you know, the Bible also says you should let a man slap you 7 times, which I don't understand. So maybe something was lost in translation. I don't know. Let's move on. And that's a perfect segue into the next tool I think that you should have to make starting over a little bit more easy for you. And that's to pray on it. And if you're not a praying person, no judgment, but you should probably start. But if you're not a praying person, then meditate on it. Take some time to really sit with the idea. For me, it was prayer. I took it to God consistently. I'll be honest, if y'all know, this was in the midst of my big beef with God. I don't know if we was ever on the same page about it, but it did calm me, it did soothe me, and everything wound up working out. Taking time to really reflect and make sure that starting over is what is going to work for you, making sure that your plan to start over is going to work for you. For example, I was really torn between moving to Colombia, to Cartagena, or moving to Tokyo in Japan. I took some time to think about it. Even after I had already gotten the job in Japan, I still continued to take time to think about it because it wouldn't have been that hard. The company that I was working for did have a location in Colombia, so to switch over wouldn't have been that hard. I prayed on it and I meditated on it, and I put a lot of thought into it. And I want to be clear, I wasn't overthinking, but I was thinking about it enough that I could make peace with my decision. That just made it so much easier to follow through. After, a couple of days, weeks of just meditating on the same issue, I think you kind of just get to a place where it's this is gonna work, and you just come to peace with it. You could also meditate on things and come to the conclusion that it's not gonna work, and that's okay too. Not everything is gonna work for you. Not every plan, not every journey is yours to take. That's perfectly fine. And knowing when to walk away from the idea of something or the plan of something has an added benefit of building self-confidence and self-trust. Knowing that you know when and how to trust your gut is a tool in and of itself. Okay, so the fourth tool, after you've come to peace with things, you need to psych yourself back up. This is the fun part. This is what I like to call social research. Do what you're doing now, start watching YouTube videos from people who live in the country you're trying to start over in. Get on Reddit, read some answers to questions that have been on your mind about what life is like in that place. Browse on TikTok if your country still has it, because I don't know how things is going to play out at this point. But browse on TikTok from creators that currently live in the country you're thinking about moving to. That was one of the main reasons why I got back on YouTube. When I was thinking about moving to Japan, I didn't really see a lot of creators that looked like me talking about their experience, showing what life was like on a night out in Japan. More than that, I wanted to show what life was like in Japan when it was time to make friends, to travel domestically, to date, to live, to work. If you have not seen any of my life in Japan vlogs, you need to check them out. Don't worry, I'll have a playlist queued up for you and in the description box. Psyching yourself up includes virtually immersing yourself in the culture of the country you're thinking about starting over in. I want you to comment down below, what big change are you looking to make this year that counts as starting over? And if you're not thinking about starting over, I want you to look in the comments anyway and see if there's anybody that you can encourage with a kind word to help them psych themselves up to start over. I also want to add, if you're thinking about starting over but it doesn't involve a move, maybe it's just like a new job or something, or a new relationship, all 4 of these tools can be applied there. If it's a new job, you should still pray on it. You should still get the knowledge and research it. You should still psych yourself up by looking at people who currently work there. Maybe they have fun trips that they post on their website, and you should definitely have some money. It might be a little harder to get it if you're staying in the country, but if you got a job, that means you probably can see if you can finagle some extra savings to make the idea of starting a new job, a new career path less daunting. You can apply these tools to starting over in any aspect. In my life, I have had countless jobs. I've been a cosmetologist. I have worked in TV. I have worked for myself. I have done so many things. I have lived so many lives. I've lived in 3 countries. I am this close to saying I've traveled the world. Antarctica, Australia, I'm coming for you this year, 2025. And all of it's because I just haven't been afraid to start over. You know what? That's not true. I have been afraid, but I didn't let the fear stop me. And I think that's really what these tools help me do and are going to help you do. They're going to help you push past the fear that comes with starting over. Click the video on screen to see a video I posted talking about 5 things I had to stop doing in order to stop feeling miserable and start feeling joyous again. I think when you're talking about starting over, being at peace and being happy with your decisions is a huge part of that. Check that video out and let me know what you think in the comments over there. See you in the next video. Bye.